welcome to another quick pass guide, this time featuring the Start Collecting Skaven Pestilens box as well as some clan rats. This is very much continuing the theme of the last video where we looked at the Carrion Empire and my attempts to build a Skaven army. And you might be asking yourself, well, why only 20 clan rats? That's not very much for a Skaven army. And the reason is I already have the Dawn of Spire box set already built and painted up. So that will take me from 40 up to 60, which I think is enough clan rats for me. So let's dive in and start with these guys. What do we have? So we've got some instructions, and here are the sprues. They are the same. And here we have a look at them. So I really like these glaive weapons. I think they're very cruel looking, very much in keeping with the Skaven theme overall. And once again we see some good detail on the cloaks of the Skaven themselves. I think that's really important for let's say more amateur painters like myself. Just a bit of a wash over a base colour can get some really good results, and in particular I've been experimenting with more neutral base colours, sort of bone white, and then allowing the colour of the wash to give it the pigmentation. Another thing I really like is these triangular shields. I think again that's a really strong theme for the Skaven, as well as some of these crazy symbols that they have. So yeah, that looks great. Very happy with those. Right, so before we dig into the Skaven Pestilens box set, let's get another thought with food.
They all say it's better to be lucky than to be good, so just roll a lot of dice and many of them will be sixes.
Thanks Food for that absolute corker of a thought. Now if you want to get Food's thoughts in the future, then do comment in the section below and we will select the best and put them to him for a response in a future video. So on to the Skaven Pestilens box set, and I have to admit that the main reason I got this was for the Plague Monks. They've been one of my favourite Skaven units all the way back to Advanced Hero Quest, and I've never actually owned any before, so I'm really excited to put these together. We also have a Plague Furnace and a Plague Claw, and as we were saying in the Carrion Empire box set, it's these sorts of box sets are the best way to start collecting an army, simply because they're one of the few ways that Games Workshop actually gives out some discounts. So got some nice explanation of what is in the box, so let's dive in. And okay, that's nice. That's has a tray box to it, so maybe not the best for the environment for the extra packaging, but that's quite a nice touch rather than just all the plastic bits falling out. So let's start here. So this is a rather familiar sprue if you've seen the last video. This is just a lightning cannon or plague claw combination. So we've already had a look at that, so let's not dwell. And then we are on to the Plague Furnace. This looks like the main housing that we have here with the wheels. So some really good detail there. And I like the asymmetry of it. I like that there is, you know, they're built in different ways. It doesn't have a uniform look. I think that's really important for the Skaven to look a bit kind of ramshackled and cobbled together. So here we go with the other part, and yeah, so I didn't really appreciate that to begin with, but here we have a bell. So this looks like it's actually a Screaming Bell Plague Furnace hybrid. So yeah, that's another good thing for a start collecting box set, because maybe I want to get a second box set. That way I can do the Plague Furnace and the Screaming Bell rather than having to choose. I really like these multi-part kits that you get those options, in good commercial sense as well, because it entices you to get a second kit. I guess the only question is, do I want 40 plague? That's a silly question, of course I want 40 Plague Monks. Yeah, so maybe time to go and get another one of these. So that's nice. Here then are the Plague Monks. So it looks like we have 4 identical sprues. And yeah, that's kind of simple. So we just got the 5 Plague Monks. Random hair in the box. And yeah, got some good options for the different banners. And these must be the woe staves, and those the other blades. Yeah, again, maybe not quite as much detail. This looks like a slightly older sprue. In fact, the resolution of the sculpting doesn't look quite as strong. There's just more flat surfaces. Kind of reminds me of the mid and early 2000s High Elves. So I think there was definitely some technological improvements later on that really helped improve that definition. Okay, about them. And what do we have here? Okay, so you've started with the Skaven army. What are your next steps? And they seem to be saying, get one of these. Don't think I will. Not personally a big fan of them. I know you get the different types, whether you want it to be slightly different in theme, but yeah, that's not personally a model that appeals to me. Also the Skaven, the Battle Tome Pestilens, so I definitely won't be getting that, and that's because despite liking the Plague Monks, not really a fan of the Nurgle theming. Again, just personal choice, not something that I'm super keen in, so I'm just going to be going for the normal Skaven Battle Tome, and just bringing some of these units of Plague Monks into that. And okay, so here we have a War Scroll Battalion, so that looks like it covers everything: the Plague Furnace, the unit of Plague Monks, and the Plague Claw. So they seem really keen on getting these box sets and then making sure that you've got these little upgrades that come with it. So yeah, that's a nice little addition. And then onto the instructions. So we've already seen the Plague Claw. Let's have a look at the... Yeah, so it is a Plague Furnace Screaming Bell combination. And oh, that's yeah, that's going to take a little bit of putting together. Excellent. Look forward to that. And then finally the Plague Monks themselves. So let's see what the rules for these guys are. So it looks like they have Icon Bearers, Bringer of the Word, Harbingers, and Monks. So the leader of the unit is a Bringer of the Word, so the leader will be the one with the scroll. And then the Icon Bearers and Harbingers just give a bit of a bluff. Now let's have a look at the stat line. So the Fetid Blade, 1 inch range, 2 attacks, 4+ to hit, 4+ to wounds. And then the Woe Stave, so that gets the extra inch range, but only has 1 attack and is a 5 to wound. That's a big drop down actually. So if you include both of these weapons, you do get the extra attack, but it's only a 5+ to wound, which is not very good. But then it is a better attack, and you don't get anything extra unless there's something in the rules, which I'll check in a second, for having the extra Fetid Blade. It doesn't matter how many you've got, it only counts the one time. So I imagine it gets some sort of buff. And yeah, so here we have the abilities. Fetid Blade, you can re-roll all failed hit roll. Okay, so that's all failed hit rolls. Now when I read that out, I was expecting it to be like reroll ones. That's normally what you see if you have 2 of a weapon or a shield or something. It's the reroll the ones, but this is rerolling all failed hit rolls. So now, instead of having 3 attacks if you have the woe stave as well, albeit the third one is wounded on a 5, not a 4, you only get the 2 attacks, but you can reroll all failed hits, and at a 4+ to hit, that's effectively an extra half a hit. So that's 2.5 at a 4+ rather than 3 at, well, 2 at 4+, 1 at 5+. So that's effectively 1 at a 5+ to wound versus half at a 4+ to wound. So the woe stave does slightly stay ahead, except I've just looked down to the next ability, if this page stops shaking. On a turn in which they charge, all mortals with the unit may make 3 attacks with their fetid blades rather than 2. So that won't change it either, because you can only take the 1 fetid blade. So it definitely seems like both weapons just have an edge, and I think that's a good thing, given that, let's go back to the box art. They do look pretty good, those woe staves. Let's see if I can get rid of the glare. Yeah, definitely add a bit to the model. Definitely do look better. So I think that's probably where I would have gone for anyway. And yeah, it definitely seems like the combination is slightly above. So you do get the extra attack as well if you're outside of 1 inch. If you're between 1 and 2 inch, the woe stave will get the hit, whereas the dagger would not. But that's not going to make a lot of difference. So yeah, definitely gonna go for look. So quite a good box set overall. Nothing fancy or frilly about this. It basically does just what you expect it to do as being a simple box full of miniatures. So a quicker review for a smaller box set. Join us next time. Some Skaven, let's get some Skaven. Okay. Here we go, Skaven. Aha! Start collecting Pestilens box. Come here, bad boy. What else? Stormvermin. Yeah, need some Stormvermin. Let's get some. What? Temporarily out of stock online? Out of stock? My life is ruined.